The courtroom was cold that morning. Every eye turned to the frail man sitting alone at the defendant's table. His coat was patched, his shoes worn thin. He clutched a battered briefcase, eyes lowered. But there was something different about Thomas Reed, the way he sat so still, lost in thought. Outside, clouds gathered. Inside, tension thickened. Thomas Reed, silent as a ghost, was about to speak. The charges were read in a cold voice. "Trespassing on private property," the judge announced, looking at Thomas with annoyance and pity. "Not guilty, Your Honor," Thomas replied softly. Snickers rippled through the crowd. The prosecutor leaned forward. "Mr. Reed, were you or were you not found inside the fence of Crown Ridge Holdings?" "Yes, I was," Thomas replied, his voice trembling. "But I have my reasons." He opened his battered briefcase, pulling out a faded folder as the courtroom watched. Thomas's hands were slow, but sure as he placed the folder on the table. The judge leaned forward, eyebrows raised. The prosecutor rolled his eyes. "Another sob story?" someone muttered from the back row. Thomas took a deep breath. He faced the judge, voice steady now. "I entered that land because it does not belong to Crown Ridge Holdings. It is protected parkland, by law." The prosecutor scoffed. "That land was sold to the company years ago. We have the deeds." Thomas looked down, his silence stretching, each second thick with suspense. Then, he pushed a yellowed document forward. "Your Honor, if you look at Section 12, page 18, you'll see a clause, one most people overlook." The judge hesitated, curiosity piqued despite himself. He took the paper, eyes scanning the text. The courtroom was silent now, the weight in the air shifting. Thomas's words had planted a seed of doubt. The prosecutor shuffled his notes, suddenly less confident. Thomas sat back, folding his hands, waiting. He did not smile or gloat. He simply watched the judge read, hope flickering quietly behind his tired eyes. The judge reread the clause, her frown deepening. "It says here the land is to remain public, under state protection. Any transfer is void if used for private development." The prosecutor's face paled. That's not in our copy," he stammered. Thomas nodded gently. "Many versions exist. Only the official registered deed counts." He paused, letting his words settle in the tense air. "I have a certified copy, signed by the Secretary of State 30 years ago. I was there when it was written." The room buzzed with confusion and disbelief. Murmurs spread as Thomas pulled out another paper, this one stamped and embossed. He slid it across the table to the judge. The judge's hands trembled slightly as he accepted it, reading the signature, his expression changing from doubt to astonishment. The tension in the room grew. Everyone leaned forward, wondering, who was this old man, really? And how did he know so much about the law, about this land? The judge looked up from the document, eyes wide. "Thomas Reed, you signed this yourself, as Chief Environmental Judge." The courtroom gasped. The prosecutor's jaw dropped, papers slipping from his hands. Thomas met the judge's gaze, his voice soft but strong. "I served this county for 25 years. I wrote the Protection Act myself. I came to see if the land was still safe. When I saw the company building fences, I knew something was wrong." He paused, letting the truth echo through the silent room. The judge leaned back, stunned. "Why didn't you say who you were?" Thomas smiled sadly. "People see an old man, they don't listen. I wanted the truth to matter, not my name. The crowd was silent, shame and admiration mixing in every heart. The prosecutor stammered, I had no idea. Thomas gave a gentle nod, eyes kind but clear. He had nothing to prove, and yet everything was now proven. The court was no longer cold. The judge cleared his throat, his voice softer now. The charges against Mr. Reed are dismissed. The land remains protected. Crown Ridge Holdings will be fined for unlawful development. Applause broke out, some people wiping tears from their eyes. The prosecutor lowered his head, humbled. The judge turned to Thomas with a rare, warm smile. Mr. Reed, I owe you an apology. We all do. Thomas nodded, accepting the words but asking for nothing in return. A reporter whispered, "A hero, right here among us." But Thomas just stood quietly, gathering his papers. For him, it was never about fame. It was about justice, about the land, about doing what was right, even when no one was watching. The judge rose, his voice carrying through the room. Let this day remind us, wisdom wears many faces. Do not judge by what you see. After the crowd had left, the judge met Thomas at the door. He shook his hand, holding it with both of his own. Forgive us for doubting you, he said softly. You taught us something precious today. Thomas smiled, a tired but peaceful smile. He looked at the young clerk who had doubted him, and at the prosecutor who had tried to shame him. Sometimes, Thomas said, the quietest voices have the greatest truths. Listen well and learn. His words lingered like music in the empty hall. As Thomas stepped into the sunlight, the world seemed brighter, lighter somehow. He walked away with slow, purposeful steps, leaving behind a lesson no one would soon forget. If you wish to measure the worth of a man, Thomas once wrote, look not at his coat or his wealth, but at the wisdom and kindness he carries within. In a world too quick to judge, his story was a gentle reminder. True value is never just skin deep.
What's something people don't know about stories? They never truly end. There's always a new adventure waiting for you. Just pick your next tale and I'll meet you there. Subscribe to the Story Circle and let me know which story I should tell next in the comments.